Hey, peace world. Had to jump in with some bite down boxing talk on my way into work. The matchroom, Eddie Hearn matchroom announcement of the rematch between unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua is going down August 20th over in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They had the press conference. It's kind of luxurious or over the top a little bit, and then they had the outdoor the outdoor workouts in that setting that they had it in. And I don't know, it looked a little Indiana Jones-ish. It was different, but I'm glad the fight is happening. Some of the fan response to it, it just comes with watching the sport, but the shit is just so annoying. I just don't get it. I honestly, I just don't get it. For AJ, what are you doing, dude? For Anthony Joshua, as well as somebody like a Ryan Garcia, and even in tying that to my comments on Kevin Durant with the move to the Golden State Warriors and how that was received by the public. Fans that follow professional sports to just complain and bitch and gripe and be upset and negative, that's a weird thing to do. I mean, that's a weird life to lead, in my opinion. What would we have Anthony Joshua and Ryan Garcia do? They withdrew from some fights, or they lost some fights in AJ's situation. He negotiated rematches into his two fights. He had a lot of assets on the line when he fought Ruiz and Usyk. He's the reason why the event was as big as it is, and why Usyk and Ruiz got compensated on the levels that they got. And the man has the leverage to get that to negotiate that rematch. So if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Go do something else. But what would we do? What would we do if AJ lost and just was like, that's it, I'm done? I'll walk away because of the public outcry and scrutiny and the hatred towards me. I'm just gonna walk away and live my life. I mean, would people with this same group of people be happy? For Ryan Garcia, I mean, he has a decent fight on the books with Javier Fortuna. Very few fighters look great against Fortuna. He's coming off of the fight against Tago, where he didn't get the dramatic ending that he may have wanted. But you come out and you get another opponent that, like I said, Fortuna could win. Or Fortuna is scrappy enough to hang around and maybe have some good moments. He can weather some adversity. He might be able to get knocked down once and get back up. It's part of the process. I mean, but people are so impatient. It's just a very annoying and nonsensical element of following the sport. Like I said with Kevin Durant, with the decision to go to Golden State. I mean, if you make that decision, what more could you do better than to go there and do what he did the 3 years that he was there? 2 finals MVPs, 2 finals series wins, to be a 2-time, world champion and whatnot. What would we have said if he failed? What would be the final word from the public if Durant had failed how long would people be celebrating and running around, skipping around, yelling and laughing at the man because he did all of that and still came up short? So, I'm going to see what Ryan does against Fortuna and see if he can reposition himself and actually follow through on trying to fight Tank Davis or, somebody else at lightweight that we want to see him face. For Anthony Joshua, he brings in Robert Garcia. I would have liked it if he could have come over to California and worked with Garcia in his gym and kind of maybe let some of the culture of the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, marinate in some of that for a while. But that's not how it's happened. With the fight being delayed from like June or when it was originally targeted, whether it was June or July, and now being pushed back to August, that's a little bit more time for him and Robert Garcia and the Fernandez cat to kind of work together. I don't know. Looking at the pairing, we haven't really seen Garcia work with any heavyweights. That's a little different from the lighter weights that he's typically working with. I think Garcia is a pretty capable trainer. And like I said, I respect that culture that he's created at his boxing academy. He seems like a boxing guy through and through. I think it's an interesting move that Anthony Joshua made, and I'm willing to tune in. And we can all pick our victory. We can all predict our winner in that fight. I do see a lot. It seems like most of the public is favoring Usyk to win. I haven't looked into what any of the betting odds are, or what Vegas is saying or anything, but I think it's a pretty damn good fight. I think even in a loss, even in a knockout loss, I don't think it's the end of the road for Joshua. I think he has two or three more fights if they manage it correctly. But say, an interesting thing is, if he was to lose, obviously him and Wilder would still be. Look, if we're getting ready to pay $50, $75 to watch Andy Ruiz face Luis Ortiz, you mean to tell me they can't charge $75 or $80 for Wilder and Anthony Joshua to fight? If they're both coming off losses, that's not a viable big time fight. People will watch it. So I don't think it's the end of the road for Anthony Joshua. And I don't necessarily want it to be the end of the road for the dude. I think he's an interesting figure that's out there that still can put together some big moments for the sport, that gets a lot of eyes on the sport. And I think it's some fighters that have been on his undercards that could still use him being at the top of events for them to continue to develop, earn some decent money, and get some decent exposure. But it's not like the pressure isn't on Anthony Joshua. And personally, just like I was rooting for Draymond Green to have some success in this finals, I really like AJ to put it together and have a good outing against Usyk. I mean, to see those guys in the stare down, the size difference, I still like the big man to be able to impose himself on a smaller fighter. I'm hoping that they watched the Chisora tape and saw what a lesser talented Chisora was able to do with nastiness and grit and tenacity. And that's not really AJ's style per se, but he's got to be able to find it in himself to bull forward and get to that dude's body and make an exciting fight. That's what I would like to see, is an exciting fight. But Usyk, you know, hell of a champion. We saw what he did at cruiserweight, completely unifying that division. We saw him move up. Like I said, this man is 6'2", 6'3", or whatever, going in here against these heavier fighters that outweigh him by 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And he's going in here boxing and doing his thing. He's a good-spirited guy. I like Usyk. I really do. So either way, you know, whoever the winner is, it's a win for me. I do think that that Fury and AJ would be a bit more exciting of a fight. But you have to earn that opportunity, right? I mean, if you can't get past Usyk, then you haven't proven yourself worthy of getting the opportunity to face Fury, and that the UK could get that fight that they've been clamoring for a while. But if he should be able to put it together and move past Usyk, then they can get the Fury and AJ thing rocking, and I think that's a great event. Usyk against Fury, you know, this retooled, rebranded Fury, being a puncher and doing what he's doing. That's a tough matchup to look at with Usyk and think that Usyk stands a good chance against that set of skills, those measurables, that tail of the tape, and then Fury's mindset. I would watch it. I would like to see it. Hey, how you doing? I'm getting ready to get out of here. I just had to run my mouth about something before I went in. Since Lennox, I've watched all heavyweight fights, but Lennox, I agree. I would totally agree with that. I totally would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. A year or so ago, year and a half ago, you know, it looked like the heavyweight division was kind of having somewhat of a resurgence, and it was some players to watch. Ergovich was out there. We got the young kid, Jared Anderson, out there. It's that one Russian cat or whatever that's up in Canada that's still pretty raw. I mean, F.A. Ajagba was a big guy that's out there. We're not so excited about him anymore. Michael Hunter was kind of having some entertaining fights. Bacoli, I think, he was an okay, top 20-ish guy. But it was a bunch of different bodies that were around at heavyweight. And then the top three looked to be so, any way we would have matched Wilder, AJ, and Fury, and Ruiz. I mean, Ruiz was an interesting figure to watch. But now all of these dudes are all inactive. We got Zhilei Zhang out there, and now it just looks like it's nothing to really be all that excited about again. So, I don't know. But like I said, man, I'm getting ready to get out of here, by the way. But I really like the rematch happening. I am a little disappointed that the fight is taking place in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But again, that's really not my business. I could imagine that it's a hefty ass price tag to put this fight together. And for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, you got to go out here and pay for it. And apparently this was the best way to pay for it. So I think the fight is kind of being taken away from international boxing fans with the fight going over there. I know less and less people are kind of willing to travel to Saudi Arabia. But hey, like I said, it's some shit I'm going to watch from the couch. So it's really not all that big of a deal for me. But it does seem like a slap in the face to the people in Britain, the UK and whatnot. But again, man, when we get to talking about financing some of this stuff, and Matchroom as an entity trying to make money for the future, they got other fighters they got to take care of too. So you kind of have to use the assets that you have for the greater good of the business. And like I said, that's kind of above my pay grade. But I think it's a good fight, and I'm looking forward to it. Right now, I would probably lean towards Usyk. You know, if I had to put my name on it, put my word on it, and my analysis on it, I would lean towards Usyk. But I'm very interested to see if AJ can figure it out and at least have a better showing. You know, at least have a better showing. The people that were trying to read into the body language and the facial expressions and make a prediction, you know, June 23rd, June 24th, I thought that was kind of foolish. You know, this is a little different where we got two heavyweights. It's a little bit of bad blood there. But we got these guys in the ring. AJ was in the ring first. Usyk came into the ring to do his workout. There's no security around. There's no big threat that something is going to pop off. I mean, these two dudes are gentlemen, pretty much. They just have to fight. So to sit here and expect there to be like some intimidation stuff and some kind of altercations and whatnot, this is not really the two guys to get that for you. I mean, from what we've seen thus far, have we seen any indication of that? So I think, you know, it's a little bit different. Some of us like to see more drama. We like to see nastier guys, you know, and all that stuff. But you're really not going to get that out of these two, I don't think. So I didn't read anything into the body language. This is just some shit you got to get through to get back to your training camp and get your real training going on and let it be uninterrupted so that you can get prepared for a very important fight in your career. So I didn't take a whole lot from this. It just was part of the marketing and the promotion for the event. But, you know, people, like I said, it's an asinine element of following the sport and trying to pay attention to everything that's going on. But I thought it was, you know, okay. Let me get out of here, man. Bite down, box, and don't let them count you out. Peace.